I've been using the M4 Mac Mini for 45 days now, and I want to share my early thoughts on the device and if I think you should get one. Hey everyone, it's Andrew and welcome back to the channel. Dare I say it, but this by far is the best Apple product that they have made in a really long time. Everything about this device is actually incredible. Design, performance, value. It's truly remarkable what they've done. The Mac Mini comes packed with either an M4 or an M4 Pro chip, and I decided to go with the M4 model. Looking at the specs and seeing what it can do, that was the best decision for me. As I go throughout this video, I will call out differences between the M4 and the M4 Pro, because there are some slight differences with that, but let's go ahead and get into it with the design. Just look at how small the M4 Mac Mini is. And I already love the Mac Mini design. It was thin, it was a nice square, it had a really good shape to it, and it didn't add a lot to your desk. And just look at it compared to the new Mac Mini, it is actually crazy. In person, it's so small and so compact, and the fact that there's an M4 chip inside, it's just wild. And this is Apple at their absolute best. And it also keeps that iconic silver finish, which I'm glad they didn't go away with. It has a height of 5 centimeters, a width of 12.7 centimeters, and a depth of 12.7 centimeters. And depending on the chip you get, it will either weigh 0.67 kilograms or 1.5 pounds, or with the M4 Pro, it'll weigh 0.73 kg or 1.6 pounds. And that should blow your mind. 1.6 pounds is so easy to carry around on a trip or on the go. It's insane. Something that's really exciting about this Mac Mini is the way that they've set up the ports. On the front, you get two USB-C ports that support USB 3 speeds and a 3.5mm headphone jack. An SD card slot would have probably been my preference over the headphone jack, but that's just me. I have a nice little external storage that I can connect via USB-C in the front. I can just use that. On the back, there's the power cable, a Gigabyte Ether port, an HDMI port, and 3 Thunderbolt 4 USB-C ports with support for Thunderbolt 4, USB-C 4, USB 4, and a display port. The M4 Pro is the same, except for 3 Thunderbolt 5 ports with support for Thunderbolt 5. I love the overall look, and I think it goes really nice with my desk setup. And whenever I post about my desk setup, people always ask, where'd I get this or where'd I get that? So let me just go through everything really quick. I have the E7 standing desk by FlexiSpot, and it kind of gives off an Apple Store vibe. I have the C7 Plus chair from FlexiSpot as well. I'm using the Magic Keyboard and Magic Trackpad. The desk pad and desk tray, which both look so freaking good on here, are from my favorite desk accessory company called GroveMade. My charger is from Anker, and I have a watch charger from Spigen. I've got a little bit of wall decor from Grid Studio with the iPhone 3G and the original iPhone. For the Mac Mini, you do have to get an external display, and the display that I'm using is the Studio display made by Apple, and I absolutely love this monitor, and I don't regret this purchase at all. There's two downsides. It is expensive, and it only has a 60Hz refresh rate, but the way the colors look and the 5K display is phenomenal, and it's also a monitor that I enjoy looking at. The bezels are really thin as well, and I'm confident this was a really good long-term purchase. I could see myself having this for the next few years and it's still being perfectly fine. The new Mac Mini actually supports 3 displays now, and so I would absolutely love to have 3 displays here. I don't know why I would need that, but I think that would be pretty sick. I think it would, at least one more studio display would be pretty sick. And seriously, I think I'm talking myself into getting a new studio display, so I better stop. This Mac Mini is perfect, but Apple isn't perfect when it comes to their storage, and that's the only downside I have seen with this device. The starting storage is 256 gigabytes, and it's 2025, and realistically, that can fill up pretty quickly. You have two options. You can upgrade to 512 gigabytes for $200, and with each upgrade of storage, it adds another $200. So your storage can get pretty high. It does max out all the way to 8 terabytes depending on the configuration that you do, or you could get an external storage and just connect it to your computer and put all your files there, and you'll probably save a lot of money. I personally think it's better to get a 512 starting storage, and if I ever need an external storage, I can always get that. Their storage pricing is honestly awful, and I feel like they could start it at 512, but I don't think that will ever happen. Now on to performance. And you can go with either the M4 chip or the M4 Pro chip, and it really determines on your use case. Here's the difference in specs between the M4 chip and the M4 Pro chip. It also supports Wi-Fi 6E and Bluetooth 5.3. I decided to go with the M4 chip because I genuinely think it was enough. I was previously using the M2 chip and I was able to pretty much get through everything that I'm doing on the M4, and the M4 is just doing it a little bit quicker and a little bit smoother. I haven't seen significant gains because honestly the biggest task that I'm doing is exporting 4K footage out of iMovie, and that's not gonna blow anything out of the water. My timelines when I'm editing videos aren't crazy either, and so for me, it's enough. But if you're getting into maybe using Final Cut quite a bit often and maybe 8K footage, I would go with an M4 chip. And that's gonna definitely alter the price depending on how you configure it. One thing that was really great with this upgrade to the Mac Mini was the starting unified memory starts at 16 gigabytes. And so for me, jumping from 8 gigabytes of unified memory to 16 was great, but I decided to go even further because I knew that I was going to use this a lot more for video editing. I went with 24 gigabytes of unified memory. And honestly, that is a massive upgrade from my previous Mac Mini. And I actually was a little bit worried with the M2 chip because of the integration of Apple Intelligence. I did start to notice the M2 iPad Air was starting to struggle a little bit with the integration of iOS 18.2 that introduces Apple Intelligence. And with my M2 Mac Mini, although I didn't really see any differences, I know that performance was going to be an issue in the future. For the update for me, I was able to trade in my Mac Mini for $380. Took quite a bit off of the final price for me, and I think it was worth it because I'm future-proofing my device quite a bit. Now, like I said, with the storage, you can go to 8 terabytes, and with unified memory, you can go all the way up to 64 gigabytes. But I feel like what I do is enough. So editing videos, exporting 4K footage, writing scripts, planning content creation, and using ChatGPT. Yeah, I do use it. I think it's a fantastic tool, and I hope that there's a little bit more of a seamless integration between Apple Intelligence and ChatGPT. Really quick, Apple Intelligence really hasn't blown me away, and really anyone. I don't even really hear normal people talking about Apple Intelligence, let alone the tech community, which is super harsh about Apple Intelligence. It has a long journey ahead of itself. The ChatGPT Mac app is absolutely fantastic, but other than that, everything else that I use is macOS apps. Just Apple Intelligence, I'm not crazy about. I really haven't noticed any fan noise, and the fact that the power button is at the bottom doesn't really bother me. It's just not a device I think you really ever have to shut off. I did notice though some heating, but I did notice it getting a little bit hot. Not even really using it, just walking up to it and it being hot. I thought that was kind of weird. All of that to say, what's the price of this thing? And so the starting price at the base level storage and base memory is $599. Now, if you get student discount, it's going to be $499. Now, depending on your configuration, adding memory or adding storage, it can start to creep up, and it's about $200 for each update. So fully spec'd out, you'd spend almost $5,000, which is insane. I don't recommend you do that. But if I were you and kind of your needs match mine, I would get the M4 chip. I would probably go either 16 or 25 gigs of unified memory, and I would get 512 gigabytes of storage. I honestly don't think it's been a better time to get the Mac Mini. It's really insane how impressive it is, and I feel like this is the first device in a while that's gotten a proper redesign and update. And I think Apple poured all of their love and attention to show, hey, we still care about the Mac Mini. We still want it to be a viable option for you. And to me, they changed the game, how a device can be so powerful, so small, and so cheap. Like seriously, Apple, you outdid yourselves with this computer. If you need a computer for home, this would be the computer that I recommend to everyone. Now for the monitor, you really don't need a studio display. That's just my preference. So if you can find a nice cheap one, go for it. It's gonna be great. And seriously, let me know if you end up getting one. I want to hear your experience and how much you like it or don't like it. And if you already have one, let us know in the comments what you think about it. As always, guys, thanks for watching. God bless, and I will see you on the next video.